Quays News coming up on today's show. Our reporter speaks to the Cheadle doctor helping Pakistan's acid victims.
And we're at the Manchester Science Festival. It's now underway.
And from Munich to Manchester, Christmas must be near because Oktoberfest is here. Hello, we start with a problem facing women in Pakistan. It's inspired a Manchester doctor to visit the country.
Now, acid attacks are an everyday problem in the Asian country. Amber Hack's been to find out how Dr. Shamalak is helping the victims. Her report contains some upsetting images.
Women in Pakistan who refuse marriage are being subjected to acid attacks. With acid so readily available in the country, the men they have rejected, and sometimes even their own families, are marking these women for life for bringing dishonour onto their name. But a Cheadle-based doctor has taken matters into his own hands by donating £50,000 to take an NHS team to perform hair and eyelash transplants on the victims in Pakistan.
Amber, to be honest, it was quite devastating when I saw all these horrific injuries to all these women. I couldn't believe how a human being can do this to another human being. Even animals do not do that. The thing which really surprised me most, all these culprits were still at large after committing all these horrendous crimes. The other bit was so easy to find the acid in a corner shop for as little as for 50 pence.
Dr. Asim Shamalak is renowned for his hair transplant procedures on the likes of Callum Best and Embarrassing Bodies Dr. Christian. But as a successful Pakistani man, he felt it was time that he gave something back to his home country.
The reason I went to Pakistan to help all these unfortunate acid burn victims was that I never worked in Pakistan. I was born and brought up there. I was educated there, but I never did even one day of work there. So it was a payback time for me.
Amber Hack reporting for Quays TV News.
Okay, moving on. Are you into science, Harry?
Somewhat, yeah.
Well, there was a time when science was associated with geeks, but it is changing. The Manchester's Science Festival's in its 8th year. If you go along, you'll meet future rocket scientists and established professors. There are workshops, 3D image demos, world record attempts, and the science behind animal sounds. The Museum of Science and Industry is one of the main hubs for the festival. It started this morning and spans across Greater Manchester for 10 days.
Now, wrap up.
You can expect a wide variety and range of different events that have all got science at their core. So we have a great family programme over the half term, and that's all about getting children with hands-on with science, so loads of experiments and things to do. And it's also an opportunity for them to meet scientists and see that scientists are normal people and great role models, and children might hopefully think that science is accessible to them and something that they can be involved with.
Now, wrap up warm and get your skates on and head down to Salford Quays this festive season. It's just been announced you can soon enjoy Media City UK's first ever ice rink. Also, while you're there, be sure to drop into the lodge for food, drink and fun.
And it's almost that time of year again. Santa Claus is coming to Manchester. Comedian Jason Manford's switching the lights on this year. Expect fireworks. Warwick Davis, Shane Ward and even Shrek the Musical will join the city's switch on party for the official opening on November the 7th.
Now, we all have a bit of curry, don't we? Well, that's what it says on the autocue. I've never seen it, but many of you will be excited to hear an old face will soon return to the cobbles. ITV says Sally Matthews will revive her character, Jenny Bradley, after more than 2 decades away. The character left in 1989. She'll be the new love interest for Kevin Webster.
Ooh, Kevin and Jenny. If you're a film buff, you'll be excited to hear that the streets of Manchester have been converted into early 20th century New York for a new film called Genius. Oscar winner Colin Firth stars alongside Jude Law and Nicole Kidman for this period drama based on the life of the author of Ernest Hemingway. Cast and crew are expected to be in Manchester filming until next week. Now, Harry, are you old enough to remember S Club 7?
Just about, I think.
Just about. Well, you should be really excited because they're making a comeback.
I believe so. They're returning for the first time in over a decade during Children in Need in November.
I hope they're performing my favourite. There ain't no party like an S Club party. Remember that one?
Of course
No.
I do.
OK, so back to business. Local businesses and charities gathered at the AJ Bell Stadium on Thursday for this year's Salford Business Exhibition. Gemma Crozier reports.
On Thursday, it was the 4th annual Salford Business Exhibition at the AJ Bell Stadium in Salford. The event brought together a range of local businesses and charities, hoping to market and raise awareness of their brands. I caught up with a few of the businesses to get their views on the event.
I'd say we have, yeah. I'd say we've done really well today, yeah. I think I work on the partnership team, so I've spoken to a few resellers who deal with IT, and the other direct team we've spoken to a lot of, not only the guys coming to speak to the visitors, but also the exhibitors as well. So it's been a fruitful day, yeah, definitely.
Expo so far is going great. As you can see on our badges, everyone's got a V code, everyone's coming in asking what it does, interacting with it and so on.
Oh, it's great. We're pretty confident. We've got the best stand, us being funfair themed, inviting people here to play hook a duck and win some money. It's really more contact with the Salford business community. We're only in Manchester. The Northwest is important to us, and it's a great place to meet people.
Showing her support at the event was MP for Worsley and South Eccles, Barbara Keeley.
I think there's a real good mix. I've been talking to people on some of the charity stands. There's some very interesting organisations out there. But the most important thing too is that businesses are involved and can talk to each other. Just chatting to a guy who's turned up and he's handing out leaflets, networking for his own organisation. That's excellent.
Gemma Crozier reporting for Quays News.
2008 was the last financial crisis. Now, will 2014 be the sequel that nobody ordered? Joining us in the studio is our political editor, Dan McLaughlin, to discuss the state of our economy. Now, Dan, are you the bringer of bad news?
Unfortunately, I am. I've got my funeral suit on. It's not looking very good at the moment. To explain this all in very brief, the FTSE 100 index. Now that sounds very mechanic.
FTSE, isn't it?
FTSE, yes. Yeah. Which you were not playing FTSE under the desk there. No. Well, it's basically a way of measuring the prosperity of businesses in the UK.
Okay.
The highest it's ever been was around 1999. The value was 6,950.6. It fell to below 3,500 during that 2008 financial crisis. Now, FTSE, it hit a 14-year high last month. That's good. You can imagine the Chancellor, George Osborne, drinking his port and lemon celebrating. But then the next month it dropped to a 15-month low. This was driven by fears of global growth. The head boys and girls of the economy, Germany, the US, China, we're told to take a leaf out of their books. But they're suffering as well. The US dollar lost 2% of its value around Tuesday. When the markets dip, these governments are expected to provide a thing called quantitative easing. Now, these are usually through the central banks, the Bank of England, the European Central Bank, and the Federal Reserve of the US. Now, quantitative easing was supposed to pump in about £375 billion into the economy via the markets. Now, the reality with this is it's trapped in the markets and it filters up to the corporate banks and to the allies and the elites there. Instead of the wages and the development it needs, this was created by the Bank of England.
And Dan, what are the political ramifications of this?
Well, 2015 is the year of the general election. Now, the key word that's going to go around David Cameron is the word legacy. Tony Blair's legacy was the Iraq War. Gordon Brown's legacy was the 2008 financial crash, the crisis. Could this potential crisis be Cameron's legacy? Is it the last hurdle? We don't know if this is going to be his, this will be a crisis for his team before the voters go to the booths.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
We certainly will.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the elections next year?
Well,
Dan?
it's all great business for me. I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it. Now, this crisis in itself is going to be a crisis for all parties. There can't be point scoring because whoever takes up this mantle, if it's a Labour government, it's on their shoulder. And the voters will probably be confused who to vote for. The Labour government didn't handle the 2008 financial crisis well. Will the Conservative government that promised prosperity, that promised the end of austerity?
Absolutely. Dan, thank you very much for joining
us.
Now let's get some sport and another stumble for FC United, Cameron.
Yes, that's right. FC United were in action last night. They played out a draw against Matlock Town and they managed to get a valuable point. United were looking to bounce back from a 3-1 defeat and had an early chance through Matty Wolfenden. Matlock hit back with a chance of their own before FC United were inches away from taking the lead from a corner. Fox then had a chance saved before Matlock hit the post. The second half saw FC United take control, but despite a number of good chances, they were unable to take the lead. The game finished in a goalless draw, which sees FC United move up to 8th in the Northern Premier. Now, Manchester City were due to face Russian CSKA Moscow in an empty stadium on Tuesday evening. UEFA had ruled the Champions League fixture be played behind closed doors following racist abuse by home fans earlier in the competition. But some City fans came up with a genius way of watching their beloved team. Members of the 1894 group posted this picture on Twitter showing fans who had gained stadium access disguised as Russian policemen. I can't help but feel it was a wasted journey, however, as the game ended in a disappointing 2-2 draw. Apologies there for the technical error regarding the picture. The Salford Red Devils have released their new kit for the 2015 season, days after the announcement of next season's fixtures. Salford will start their campaign with a trip to Warrington Wolves on the 8th of February. And a special mention to Salford student Neve Lewis. Neve came second in the under-20 triathlon category in the European Championships. They were in Mallorca. Lastly, a Manchester man has opened bidding for his 7-month-old son's allegiance to either United or City. Any interested parties can submit an offer on eBay, raising money for charity Bliss in the process. Now join us next Tuesday for more information on that story, and remember to tweet us your pictures and your bids using the hashtag BabyBids. So Siobhan, will you be putting a cheeky offer in?
I'm not sure about that, Cameron. I think it's a great idea and a great way to raise money for charity, but I think whatever team you're born into should be the team that you're with. Okay, so Lederhosen in Albert Square, it must be time for Oktoberfest,
Absolutely, yeah. The German Beer Festival drew nearly 2,000 to the city centre last night. Georgia McManus went along to sample the culture.
Lucky her.
This is the second time Manchester has hosted Oktoberfest. Many people come to celebrate the festival, which was created in Munich over 200 years ago by showing the delicious beer, food and music that is on offer.
Okay, sorry about that video. We'll actually have it on our website later on for you to enjoy. Okay, so we are actually going to head over to Lois for weather in a moment, but just to remind you that you can check out all the information from today's show on keysnews.net, and you can also follow us on Twitter at keysnews.
Yeah, post pictures of the blustery weather we've had.
I know, it's been horrible. Did you get caught up in anything,
I
Harry?
actually did, coming here on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was all over the place.
That's not good. Okay, Lois, so tell us what's in store. Are we going to see some more of this Hurricane Gonzalo?
Yeah, well, there has been a bit of a hurricane this week, hasn't there? And so basically what's going to happen is there's going to be some strong winds and showers which should clear by the weekend. This afternoon winds are still blustery and showers will continue into the evening with highs of 13 degrees. Friday looks to contain heavy rain in the morning which should disappear later in the day. The weekend will brighten up a little with highs of 14 degrees and it will remain overcast, but there are some sunny spells to brighten up your weekend. So I hope you have a good weekend, guys, and enjoy the sunshine a little bit.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Lois.
Now, here's a bit of an unusual end to our news this on Thursday. An investigation has been launched after a stagecoach bus driver was caught driving with one foot.
What the hell
I
is
know.
this about?
A shocked passenger took a picture on her mobile phone as the bus went through Didsbury. She remarks, "I did think the bus ride was a bit more jerky than normal."
Yeah, it sounds like it would be. I don't know, I mean, have you ever had any kind of strange bus stories, Harry?
I haven't.
Anything weird happened to you?
The odd video on Facebook and YouTube, but nothing too disastrous.
Yeah,
Not as disastrous as that.
No, exactly. Okay, so What about Oktoberfest? Are you going to go to Oktoberfest?
Definitely. I'll head down. Looking forward to the food and drink.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
got going on.
It's always like a good time. I think there's always a good atmosphere and lots going on. So, okay, well, that's all for the show today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @Quays News or catch us on our website quaysnews.net.
We'll be back next Tuesday at 1:30 and we will see you then.
Goodbye.